Hi, and welcome back to the Tobacco Room. Today we're going to be discussing a type of tobacco that's very special. It's known as Rustica tobacco. This will be another video in my series of videos dealing with different sorts. Now, Rustica tobacco is a different species of tobacco, you might say. It does not belong to Nicotiniana tabacum. It is in fact Nicotiniana rustica. And Rustica has been grown in the Americas, both North and Central and South America, for a very, very long time. This plant was used by the native inhabitants of the Americas and was grown mostly up in the southeastern United States and along the East Coast seaboard all the way up the Missouri and Mississippi rivers and to the Midwest part of the Americas. And when many of the Europeans came to the Americas, they found that Native Americans in the Caribbean and farther to the south tended to use the Nicotiniana tobacco plants that we're accustomed to smoking in pipe blends and etc. But the natives towards the north of the American continent, they tended to grow this rustica. And when the Europeans tried the rustica, they quickly realized that it was just horrible to smoke as pipe tobacco. The Native Americans used it a lot as ceremonial incense. They could make a nasal snuff out of it, and sometimes they would smoke very small amounts in peace pipe mixtures. Even though they call rustica a wild tobacco, it has been more or less domesticated for a very long time, clear back to the time of the Native Americans, who would grow it just like they grew corn and pumpkins and other crops. But it still has retained enough of the landrace characteristics that it's not a very highly improved or developed sort, you might say, like some of the later sorts of Nicotiniana tabacum. This makes it susceptible to a lot of different diseases, especially fungal diseases, and there are some other traits of this plant that make it unique. One of the reasons a lot of people grow rustica is because it's up to 9 times higher in nicotine content than other forms of tobacco. This makes it very useful as an insecticide, as an additive to chewing tobaccos, and to nasal snuff in order to strengthen these blends and to give it a kick, you might say. And if you ever use rustica in any form of tobacco that you ingest or smoke or imbibe in any way, you will feel this nicotine content. It's so high that it can be quite dangerous. You feel your heart start to race, and you can sweat and get dizzy if you use it straight on its own. So rustica is to be used with extreme caution. And just as a disclaimer, I never encourage people to do anything that could be harmful to their body or their mind. These videos I make are simply for informational purposes only. Just wanted to show you a picture of a row of rustica I had last year. It was big and healthy before the fungal disease hit it. Rustica has since been developed in different parts of the world, Russia and Asia and many other different places, where they've tried to make different types of sorts of the rustica species. And so you'll see many different kinds of developed sorts of rustica, but none of them really approach the smoking fineness of Nicotiniana tobacco. But as we said earlier, it has some very good specific uses. And if you want to use this in different blends and different products you're making at home, it must be fermented. If you do not ferment rustica, it is, in my opinion, unsmokable. It is horrible. It could be used as ceremonial incense if you're into shamanism or into creating some kind of Native American-like atmosphere or mood around the campfire or in your house. But other than that, it must be fermented if you're going to make chewing tobacco, nasal snuff, or add it to any sort of pipe tobacco blends. And here you can see some well fermented and vacuum packed Rustica that I have from last year. I use this in a variety of different chewing tobacco plugs that I make, and it also makes a very, very powerful nasal snuff. It's too powerful to use on its own, really, in my opinion. So I mix it with other different kinds of tobacco flowers in order to strengthen different nasal snuff blends. And for that, I use the stems after I've taken the leaf parts off for my chewing tobacco. Typically, Rustica is a very small, compact plant with lots and lots of branches. It has bright yellow flowers, lots of them, and makes lots and lots of seed. It's also very hardy, so it can be grown in areas where it's too cold to grow other kinds of tobacco. It can also tolerate heat stress and drought, and is quite useful that way. Here at home on the farm, I've noticed that it survived the Danish winter and seeded itself and through the snow and the ice here in Scandinavia. And this year I had little baby volunteer plants coming up all over the garden. So I dug some of them up and planted some neat little rows. So even though I didn't plan on planting any of it, I have quite a nice little row of Rustica growing this year. And so that's it for this video. I hope you got something out of it and are interested in growing Rustica at home. It's a fascinating plant. I love Rustica, even though I don't really plan on growing very large quantities of it. I like to have a little bit of it around. It just gives a boost to any sort of chewing tobacco or nasal snuff blend that you're trying to make. And it's a useful, fascinating plant. Love having it in the garden, and I hope you get some fun out of it as well. Please like, share, and give a thumbs up to this video. Subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. And if you'd like to purchase the blueprints for my tobacco fermenting barrels, you can do that. The directions for how to order those are in the description of the video. Please leave your comments if you have any ideas of how you could otherwise use Rustica. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.